Part of maintaining Walter means that once a year I have to run calibration tests on him. In today's tests we're going to make sure he can still convert between fractions, decimals and percentages. So firstly we're going to be testing Walter on fractions to decimals. What is 1/2 as a decimal? You may already just know this, and that's okay, but we need to know the technique to find it so that we can do that for harder problems. So let's start by using this easy example and then we can build from there. So our technique, to convert from fractions to decimals, we just divide. So 1 divided by 2, 2 doesn't go into 1, so 0 up the top, and we carry the 1 to make 10. And now 2 goes into 10 5 times, and we have our decimal 0.5. Now we can check if Walter got it too. What is 2/5 as a decimal? So let's set up our division problem. And now 5 doesn't go into 2, so we carry the 2 and 0 up the top. 5 goes into 20 4 times exactly, 4 up the top, making 2/5 as a decimal become 0.4. Okay, our last test with fractions to decimals for Walter, 5/6 as a decimal. 6 into 5 doesn't go, 0 up the top and carry the 5. 6 into 50 goes 8 times, but there is a remainder of 2, so we carry that. And then 6 into 20 goes 3 times, because 6, 12, 18, but then again there's a remainder of 2, and now we get stuck in an endless loop of 6 into 20s, which we can also leave in shorthand like this, with a dot above the 3, and this just indicates that it repeats. Next up, we're going to try percentages to decimals. So what is 20% as a decimal? To convert from percentages to decimals, we just divide by 100. And to divide by 100, let's just shift our decimal point 2 places to the left. So shifting it once gives us 2, and then shifting it a second time provides us our answer of 0.2. So 20% as a decimal is 0.2, and we can now check if Walter got it correct and begin another test. (15.25% as a decimal. Again, let's shift our decimal twice to the left so we can divide by 100 to find our decimal representation of this percentage. So we shift it once, and this gives us 1.525. And then a second time to give us our answer of 0.1525. One last test on converting percentages to decimals, and let's try one that looks tricky. If we shift our decimal place once, 0.192 becomes 0.0192. Now we do it again, and our conversion is complete, 0.00192. Next up, decimals to percentages. To convert from decimals to percentages, we multiply by 100 instead. So now we're going to bounce our decimal point 2 places to the right. So let's convert 0.5 to a percentage. If we move our decimal point 1 point to the right, we get 5. And then if we do it once more, we get 50. So 50%, which you probably already knew, but now you can see how we easily convert from decimals to percentages. (0.4795 as a percentage. Moving our decimal once, and we get 4.795. Once more, and we have 47.95%. One last test for Mr. Walter on decimals to percentage conversions, so let's try and make it hard for him. 0.0084 as a percentage. Moving the decimal once and we get 0.084. and then a second time, and we get 0.84%. Let's see if you got it. Lastly, we're going to learn how to convert decimals to fractions. Starting with an easy one, 0.1 is a fraction. So here we use place value, and we see that we have 1/10. So we write that as a fraction, 1/10 or 1/10, and we have our answer already. .01 to a fraction. So this time our tenths column is empty, but we have a 1 in our hundredths column. So our answer is 1/100th. So our first two examples were really easy, and now we're going to expand on that concept. So we have 0.135, and just like before, we write out based on place value what we have. So 1 in our tenths column, so 1/10, and then we have 3 in our hundredths column, so 3/100ths, 5 in our thousandths column, so 5/1000ths. Now we have to add them together. So to do this, we need our denominators to be the same, so the numbers on the bottom all have to be equal. So let's make them all equal 1000, and then we can add all of our numerators together. So whatever we do to the bottom of our fraction, we also need to do to the top. So to make 10 become 1000, we need to multiply it by 100, and now our numerator also must be multiplied by 100, causing that to become 100. Then we move on to our second fraction. To make 100 become 1000, we need to multiply it by 10, and then we do the same to our top. So 3 times 10 is 30, leaving us with 30 over 1000. And now we can add all of our numerators together because we've made our denominators equal. This gives us 135 over 1000, but we also always have to check if we can simplify a fraction, and we can, because the highest common factor of 1000 and 135 is 5. So now our answer is 27 over 200. Lastly, we're going to look at problems that combine fractions, decimals, and percentages. So to really put Walter to the test, let's mix up our problems with two last examples. Our first one, what is 20% of 0.9 times 1/2? First, we need to convert them all to the same form. So 20% as a decimal, we already found that to be 0.2, and a half we already found to be 0.5. Now we can just multiply them all together and we will find our answer. To make this process easier though, let's multiply each of our decimals by 10, and that will put them all in a whole number form. This gives us a much easier problem to solve of 2 times 9 times 5. 5 times 2 is 10, multiply that by the 9 and we get 90. However, we multiplied by 10 3 times. So now to get our answer, we need to divide by 10 3 times. So to do this, we're going to shift our decimal place to the left for each division of 10. First time, 90 becomes 9. Next time, 90 becomes 0.9. And one more time, and we have our answer of 0.09. We've reached our final test, 35% of 1.2 times 1/4. Let's convert all our numbers to the same form, so again decimals. 35 divided by 100 is 0.35, and 1/4 as a decimal is 0.25. And then just like before, we're going to put our decimals as whole numbers to make them easier to work with. This time though, we have to use some larger numbers. So to get 0.35 to become a whole number, we have to multiply by 100 instead, because if we multiply by 10, we'd only have 3.5. So multiplying 0.35 by 100 instead gives us 35. Now 1.2 we need to multiply by 10. And finally 0.25 we need to multiply by 100, giving us 25. Now we have 35 times 12 times 25, and this is 10,500. Then our final step, just like our last question, is to undo the multiplications that we did. we multiplied by 100 twice and by 10 once. So to undo our first multiplication by 100, we're going to bounce to the left twice. Then to undo the second multiplication by 100, bouncing to the left twice once more. And then to find our final answer, we shift our decimal one more time to the left to undo the multiplication of 10. And we find our final answer to be 0.105. Alright, we're done with our tests and learning the techniques we need to use to be able to convert between fractions, decimals and percentages. But I made this for you too to summarise it. Essentially, we have decimals as our middle point. So to get from a fraction to a percentage or vice versa, we convert to a decimal first. Fractions to decimals, we divide. Decimals to percentages, we multiply by 100. To go all the way in the other direction, percentages to decimals, we divide. Finally, decimals to fractions, we use place value. Walter did well today, so let's give him a present.